but will you ever be done with the approval of your children? So I think I made him sufficiently nervous. He'll thank me for it later. It adds that extra veneer of authenticity. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm round of applause for a wonderful guy, Chidi.
Okay, everyone stands, and I thought, how about a bedtime story, which all of you, we've all had these things and we remember them. So, we'll begin. It was a late August night. A warm summer breeze carried the sound of rustling leaves and the late night songs from late night birds. The moon was out, not full but bright enough to shed a layer of silver and magic across the city. My mood was merry as I cycled home on my bike. My iPhone held aloft as I checked to see how my latest adventures had done on the social media. Perhaps I should have paid more attention to the cycle path, because I hit a bump and the front wheel and the rest of the bike rose into the air, traveled for a distance of about 7 paces, and landed with a thud. As I landed, my telephone flew out of my hands, and I watched it tumble and turn, but thank heavens, it landed on the grass. So I stopped my bicycle, dismounted, and ran to my phone. As I bent to pick it up, a very funny thing happened. I reached for my phone, and it jumped. I was so shocked, I looked to the skies and said, "By the gods, what sorcery is this?" I leant to the phone, and it ran. I leant, it ran. I leant, it ran, and very soon I was charging uphill, chasing this zigging, zagging object. Eventually, after about 1,300 paces or so, I saw the red light of a low battery warning, and the device slithered to a gentle halt. Aha! I've got my phone. I bent down to pick it, and as I reached for the phone, the ground opened up and swallowed me whole. Yes? Sorry, calm down, calm down. There's very serious stuff going on here. Okay. With ever-increasing speed, I tumbled and turned and twisted. I didn't know up or down or left from right. And for a brief moment, there was a light, yellowy glow, and then a mighty hammer smashed into my head, and all I knew was silence and black. I have to turn the page, and my fingers are trembling. I returned to the here and now by a ferocious clucking and clacking, something that threatened to send me to the distant forests of insanity. Slowly, quietly, I opened my eyes, and what I saw filled half of me with joy and pleasure, and the other half with dread. Because as far as I could see, the mightiest dome, the most beautiful dome I had ever seen on any of my adventures, it was a room filled with chickens. There were chickens on the left, there were chickens on the right, and all these chickens were seated at rows and rows of tables. The tables had chicken plates with chicken cutlery. There were chicken cups, and I noticed a certain chicken hunger. In the middle of the room was a pot, egg-shaped, 3/4 full, with water, and nothing in it. So I think you'll understand that I was a touch scared. On the bright side, however, this, I understood that where I was the underground chicken empire of Mokum. And I thought, how honored am I, a simple adventurer, to happen upon such a myth. And yet, at the same time, a dark cloud covered my chest. And I thought, according to the stories, no living creature who has gone to the underground empire of chickens has ever returned, to tell its tale. I was doomed. Apparently, and I have evidence for this, if you go to the taverns along Zeedijk, you'll see people, men and women, old beyond their years, and occasionally they will share a personal experience of a close encounter with this empire, and quickly wash the memory away with half a bottle of Geneva or Gordon wine. I tried to move. I tried to turn one way or another, but nothing could happen. Nothing happened. I was stuck fast, except for my head. And even had I been able to escape, even had I been able to run away, there was some other factor. Not just the small chickens. There were these mighty guardian roosters as fierce as any creature I had ever met. They were terrifying. Deep turquoise feathers with strawberry-colored heads, and of course the highly polished claws. Their eyes were as fierce as raging fire, and those eyes could not hide their desire to tear me limb from limb. As you understand, once again, I was in a jam. Now, lining the walls of the Great Hall were skeletons of men and women. There were 2 cows, 1 hamster, and 6 elephants. And dire as my situation was, I could not help but admire the chickens' understanding of animal anatomy. Then I looked at the last of the skeletons, and my heart froze. The blood in my veins turned to sparkling mineral water. And I realized that last skeleton was driehoofd hond. For non-Dutch people, that's the 3-headed dog. A dastardly beast that I had fought within an inch of my life in Demon. I escaped through wit and cunning. Yeah? But the chickens got that dog. And that meant I was next. Now, there's something you need to understand about adventurers as I. If you're an adventurer, there's something you like. You like a challenge. You like those moments when it seems as if all is lost, the end is nigh, and you look death in the face and you laugh and you say, "Not today, good sir. Not today." There was another reason for me wanting to escape. Imagine in days to come, imagine primary school children, 5 and 6, as they learn their history and heroes of Amsterdam. What happens when they reach the point about Chidi the Brave? Chidi the Brave, who was beaten up by a chicken. Sad. Sad. Rather than glorious tales of how I defeated slithering snake of Amsterdam Zuid, a serpent with a particular fondness for the letter Z, or how I fed 73 kilograms of Nutella waffles to the angry Amstel alligators, gave them bellyaches, they ran away, they're in Arnhem now and apparently very aardig. Or what about the time, that summer evening, when I fought the 7-armed ogre of Oslo? I challenged it to a bout of kung fu and won. Yes, I diddled with fingers here and jabbed him with a 3-finger palm. He went down, scurried off, never to be seen again. Credibility gone in a puff of smoke. So rather than glorious tales about me, those 3rd and 4th graders would sit in class and snicker and giggle and chuckle as they hear stories of my life coming to an end at the hands of chicken. The horror, the anguish, the agony. Now there's something that we adventurers learn on our adventures, that no adventure is too big or too small to come with a nugget of wisdom that can be used later on in life or on another day. I looked around the hall and searched for a hook upon which to hang the beginnings of the plan. Now, I noticed, at the top of the long tables, seated on a Louis Vuitton bag, was a mighty chicken. That was the boss chicken. The boss chicken was dressed in red gold sheep with silver speckles on the feet. And what got me was not so much her color, but it was that bag. That bag, I thought, I know that bag. I've seen a bag like this before. And true, only years ago, a few years ago, on a mission as a request, as requested by a friend, I had gone to Guangzhou province, where I had freed the Empress Lingjing chicken and her brood, where they were kept enslaved in factories where 24 hours a day they produced mobile phones and other consumer electronics. The Empress was really happy with what I had done. She happened to speak 11 languages. And as part of my reward, she taught me Chikanunu, which is the language of chickens, and 3 other chicken-related wisdoms. And so there I was, in this great hall, in this great empire, waiting to become a meal for these chickens. And I thought, time to think, time to escape. I can't go like this, I can't go like this, I can't. And then it hit me. One of the lessons I had learned was how flattery gives you the ability to control any chicken's mind. You flatter a chicken, it will do absolutely anything you want. Let's see. Now, within my mind, desperately, I was hoping for some inspiration. There was a spark, and the spark became a flame. The flame became a roaring fire, and that roaring fire turned into a thermonuclear explosion of pure genius. And suddenly, I cleared my throat and said 3 times, "McNuggets, McNuggets, McNuggets!" A silence fell. A silence fell. It's silent. Silence fell. A silence fell. You could hear feathers fall, and the sound of 3 of the mighty guardian roosters collapsed to the ground in faint. Top, top, top. Thank you. Your Majesty, your chickenness, I began. My voice was as smooth and as silver as the light of the moon. Your chickenness, forgive me for uttering those terrible words. But into a pot of boiling water I do not wish to fall. That aside, I cannot help but notice the superlacious blingility of your attire. I mean, rarely does one come across such fine examples of polygacious amplacracity. Well, that chicken, she blushed and clucked as only chickens can. My goodness, I had to around my finger. And because she was a chicken of Dutch descent, she looked at me and said, "Echt waar?" Absolutely, positively. Your Majesty, listen. Okay. Just tell me, where did you get those garments? And she looked at me that way, and then she looked at me this way. She said, actually, I found the leggings first at Dolce & Gusto. Then I needed a matching top, and the only thing I could find was this chicken Klein. Do you like it? Do I like it? Do I like it? Like doesn't begin to scratch the surface of what I feel, the admiration I have for your attire. I continued. Let me tell you, your glitzophorus, gloribigity. I mean, to stand before such splendiferous flubacity, such magnumatical ostembulation, is more than any being deserves. But so it is, and so it was. For 7 long minutes, my tongue wagged like crazy. One compliment came after another. In fact, such was the power of my words. One of those terrible roosters snuck up to me and said, "Are you signing autographs afterwards? Could you write something for my mate Clucky, who also has the same name as I?" Eventually, I finished with something that I thought was reasonable and well controlled. I said, well, that's all I wish to say, your chickenness. And if you find a way to return my iPhone and myself to the upper part of the city, I'll be eternally grateful and infinitely fond of you. How could the boss chicken refuse? My words had the desired effect. She melted like butter and sugar. Her heart turned to caramel fudge. And then she set me free. I was escorted blindfolded from the great underground chicken empire and returned to my trusty cycle. I bade my escorts farewell and headed off into the morning a wiser and happier man than I'd been the day before. And that was more or less that. But one last thing before I conclude this tale. Remember this as you and you and you and you and you cycle home tonight with your pretty bright iPhones or smartphones in your hand. Hold on to them and hold them tight, because if you lose them, you may end up in an ordeal like mine, but not have the wit and courage to return and sit and tell your tale in front of such a merry bunch.